I mean the end, but not the mass appendix, because we can't do that without all the props that we need to do some arts and crafts today. So it's almost the end, but mostly the end. So that's the plan.
Yep.
If you don't know what's going on, go hi. I don't know what's going on, because that's totally okay, and we're gonna figure that out. It's not like the show must go on, keep moving even if you're lost. We're not. That's not. No.
It's not tech week.
That's not the energy. We're not gonna do that.
So rehearsals here are a little unorthodox, partially because like making accessible rehearsals is going to be unorthodox, but also because I am in the show that I am directing. So also things are really unorthodox with our rehearsal spaces as well. So we're going to get there. So first thing is that because I am both directing and acting in the show, I have a co-director, which is Ace. Ace, do you want to say hi? Do you want to pop your head in real quick and just? This is my co-director. This is Ace. They're wonderful. And so over break, I sat down and I made a very large spreadsheet. And in that spreadsheet, I wrote out the staging for the entire show, scene by scene, what I'm picturing, what I would fully direct if I were standing and directing. And then had a lot of things in there that were just like, I have questions about this, or I'm not sure about this, or can I have advice? What do you guys think? And then I sent that over to our 3 wonderful movement directors / choreographers and Ace and said, all right, this is yours, do with it what you will. And since then, they have all taken that and turned it into, okay, how do we specifically direct the actors to make this happen? And what sort of dancey movement stuff do we want to put in there? Because a lot of times I just wrote out like, movement thing, insert here. Like, so they crafted that and they put all that together. And then in rehearsals, based on the schedule that we make for rehearsals in advance of like, okay, today we're going to do these scenes, and we had a set schedule of what scenes were happening at what time, but obviously that changed as time goes on and we learn our rhythms and what needs more work, what needs less work. We work through all of that. Also, our rehearsal spaces are a little funky, so right now we are in a space in the psychology building. So it's a silly little amphitheater, and it's full of lots of little desks, and so we have to move. We come early to rehearsal every day, and we move all of them out into the hallway, and then we use this space. And we have been in here for this whole semester thus far. After spring break, we are going to be moving to Art 222, which is the room that we had first semester, which is a dance studio, and we're going to have all of our props and like the blocks that we need and the tables and chairs that we need for the show to work with while we're in that space. We're gonna be there for 2 weeks, and then we move to the main stage theater where we're gonna start tech rehearsals and get all of the lights and the sound and all of that stuff going on. So we're working in an interesting way, and like we're blocking stuff here, but we know that things are going to change down the line because our space is gonna change. Our literal locations of what our stage is gonna look like is gonna be different dimensions. So things are all kind of rough drafts right now, and they're flexible and they're gonna change, which has been a very interesting process to try to stage for a stage that we don't have yet.
We get to the point where blocks are needed. There's your block.
Chairs.
We're gonna use those.
So traditionally, the way that our rehearsals are set up is the direction team comes early. We move all the chairs out of the space, and the actors come early and help with that as well because they're wonderful. And then everybody who's on time gets stickers. We have a sticker system. It is very important. We all care aggressively. My stage manager is nodding at me. We care so much about these stickers. If you are on time, you get a sticker, and you can put the sticker in your folder. You can put it in your script. You can put it wherever you want, and it's weirdly motivational because everybody just wants a good sticker. So anyway. Stickers, very big deal, very important. We get our stickers, we put it on our folder when you're on time. Yay. Then we do our warm-up. When we do our warm-up, we just do like basic stretches, basic getting our energy going, and then we go around the circle and we do a check-in. We usually do a 6-word check-in. It doesn't have to be exactly 6 words. Counting is difficult. I know this is a math show, but numbers are hard. And we all just check in to say how we're doing to get us started, so we all feel kind of grounded in the space and grounded in each other and know where everybody's at. And then after that, we get right to work. We usually do about 8 scenes per 2-hour rehearsal. The scenes in this show are very funky because there's like 58 of them. And some of them, we needed a whole rehearsal just to do one scene, and some of them we could do 12 in one rehearsal. So that was an interesting thing to figure out and plan for. Dance things definitely take way longer when we have a high dance. Like we only did 2 scenes today. We did 32 and 35. Yeah, we did 32 and 35 today. Those are both high dance heavy scenes, so those took a very long time. But yeah, traditionally we do about 8 if it's just like straight blocking. And we will start by getting the whole thing in our bodies and explaining through what the whole thing is going to be for the whole runway of the amount of scenes we want to get through that day. And we're done with that usually so we're here from 6 to 8. We're usually done with that by 7, and then we take a 5-10 minute break, and then we'll come back and we will physically run through the whole thing. Another cool thing about our rehearsal space is that we have a camera on all the time. So we can go back and we can rewatch the blocking that we've learned, we can rewatch the dances that we've learned, we can learn from that, we can take notes from that, and we can reprocess that and see how we do it, which is really great for me as a director, because then I can watch my own work and I can go back and edit, be like, okay, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, whatever, because that's how I direct all my other stuff, because I just have a lot of experience working with a camera, working behind it and in front of it. So that's been a really, really cool tool, and a really helpful tool also for us to be like, huh, that felt wonky, and then go back and look at it and see what it looks like and why it felt wonky and how we can go about fixing it. A big part of accessibility for us is having everything planned out beforehand, and that's not like, okay, we're walking into the rehearsal space and you are going to do this, 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 and this, you have no autonomy as an actor and this is how it's going to happen, but more of a, here's the general outline of, we have everything planned, but that's flexible, that can change. We can start to put you in these locations and then go, oh, that's not actually accessible for you. Sorry, we'll change it to be like this. And we're all expecting to have things change, but we have generally planned what's going on before we get into the space. So it's not a lot of working things out on the spot, which gets very overwhelming for everybody involved. So that's a system that took us a bit to figure out, but we got that down pretty quickly. Once we figured out that we needed things to be very explicitly planned beforehand, we started doing that, which is really helpful. But definitely the actors will come up with an idea and we'll either be like, that is so cursed and there's no way that is going in our show, or we'll go, actually, I'm really into that, and then we will throw it in. Enter Roger's existential crisis about a rat, and some other things that we've thrown into the show. Also, when we do stage combat, the show is everything you could possibly need or want in a show. When we do stage combat, we do this thing that's an intimacy coordination thing called de-rolling, which is when you will walk up to whoever you just had like a fist fight with and be like, hi, I was playing this character, and this character hit your character because they were feeling this way, but I, as myself, would never do that, and you are safe with me, and I want you to know that. And have those little conversations at the end of the scene, which really helps everybody to kind of be like, okay, I am safe with this person, and it is all okay.
My character, Christopher, hit you because he did not like being touched and he was trying to get away from it. I would never hit you in real life. That would not happen. That was just my character, and I want you to know that I love and respect and support you, and I would not hurt you at any point.
I love you, Sydney. My character hit your character because he's a bad father and is trying his best, but he doesn't know how to deal with it, and it was kind of a mistake, but not really, and he shouldn't have done that. And I would never hurt you in real life. I would grab a gun. Yeah, I would not hurt you.
Yeah, no, we're good. See, we're all good. This is all fine. See?
So that's been a thing that we've also added into rehearsals with. There's a lot of emotional scenes in the show. We've added that in as much as we can to make things more accessible and safe and trauma-informed for people who need that. And then after rehearsal, we have all of the blocking is written down, because that's what stage managers do, but then we also have it all on film so people can go back and look at it, which is really helpful. And then we also have the maps that we've typed out before the rehearsal of what our plan was, so they can also work off of that. So we have the blocking and the notes written out in many different formats for people to look back on and refresh themselves in the way that makes the most sense for their brains. Everything that we're doing right now is a little tricky because we don't have our props right, we don't have our blocks to work with, we don't have the space, we don't have a lot of the things that we anticipate having in the show. So it's making it kind of difficult that everything we're doing is a bit of a rough draft, but it's good because we're getting this rough draft in our bodies, we're getting comfortable with it, and then we're gonna do runs and we're gonna add to it, and then we're gonna add to it again, and we're gonna add to it again, so that it all feels natural rather than, oh my gosh, I have to learn a gazillion things at once, which at first we were like, oh, it makes more sense to just do the whole thing and then leave it as is, but we're realizing that it makes a lot more sense for how brains learn and process information to do it in pieces and then add on top of that and then add on top of that, which has been a bit of a learning curve for us. But again, like, I've never directed something like this before. This is new. This is new for all of us. We've all done similar adjacent things, but never exactly something like this, which makes the whole point of this project is that this has never been done before. So that was really redundant. But what I mean to say is that, as with everything, it's been a learning process. You also may notice that we've had a lot of personnel changes because the new semester happened and everybody went, oh, my schedule is different than I thought. And we had to move a lot of roles around and we had to add a bunch of people to the project, which is wonderful, and I'm so happy to have them. And we miss the people that we don't have anymore, but it's definitely been a learning curve this semester. But we're having a good time. We just finished blocking the show today, with the exception of one scene. We haven't finished Mass Appendix, but we've done everything else. So I'm really excited to see how things go, and thanks for following along with us, and we'll see you in the next video.